live. I'm going live. I'm going live.
11 with Jenna. 11 with Jenna. 11 with Jenna. 11. Who you gonna call right now? 11 with Jenna. With Jenna. 11 with Jenna. Right now. 11 with Jenna. With Jenna. It's 11. Who you gonna call right now?
Hello, 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 hello. What's going on? It is Sunday, August 8th, 2021. So in like 18, let me see, what date was it? I have to see what the date was. I was just reading something super interesting about. Where'd he go? Okay. He posted something super groovy yesterday. Now I can't find it. I'll find it sometime. 1881, maybe. Sometime in the 1800s, it snowed on this date in Michigan. And I'm trying to find it right this second. Benton Harbor? Was it Benton Harbor? Wasn't in the Benton Harbor St. Joe group that I saw this. But anyway, wait. No. Anyway, Michael Hoy, if you're here, pop on and correct me. Please, 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 please. And I don't even know where I am right now. Does anybody really know where I am? I can't find. There I am. There you are, there you are, there you are. There are 5 of you here. Who's here? Armando Ortega and Julie and Carla, and so there's 2 lurkers. I don't know who you are, but hi. My name is Jenna Mammina. I am here every day at 11:11 a.m. and 11:11 p.m. Hence the name 11:11 with Jenna. 7 days, 7 nights, 14 times a week. Come on along and listen to the lullaby of Broadway, the lullaby. Patty. Good morning, Patty. Hi. And Armando. Sunday morning with Armando. That's unusual. I like, cousin. I have a gig today, 3 p.m. And I don't know if we're going to record the whole thing, but, come on back and check it out. Maybe, probably not the very beginning, because we have to get the, get it all worked out. But we'll do a set anyway at some point. So if you pop on, check it out now. Right about now, Funk Soul Brother, check it out now. Remember that? I love that song. Funk Soul Brother. Speaking of Funk Soul Brothers, I had fun. I had fun this weekend. We did stuff. We went to a barbecue, and then I went to a festival. I went to 2 festivals, Chalk the Block Festival. I went to the Farmer's Market. I went to the Benton Harbor River Fest. Oh, Joaquin to work in a few. That's awfully early to go to work on a Sunday, Joaquin. Good for you. Good for you. But I do it. I was up early doing stuff around here. But yes, but I still had fun just on the show. I love hanging out with Jeff. I love hanging out with Armando. I loved hanging out with Carol and Rob and Zoe and Gary and Jeff. And now I get to hang out with someone cool, and so do you. Ladies and gentlemen, check it out now. Alex Martinez. Ooh. What? Dig the lighting. I forgot, Julie. I will. Check out the lighting.
Coming to you from the Purple Lounge at beautiful Caesars, Las Vegas.
Woo! What's this t-shirt you got on?
Oh, it's an old derby shirt, old roller derby shirt from my roller derby fandom days.
I fell in love with the roller derby queen. La, la, roll right. So you were a fan of roller derby?
I was a bit of a fanatic at one point, and I kind of let that kind of run wild for a minute. Um,
Okay, how
there's
wild did it run?
oh, it was bad. It was bad. Let's just say it ruined a friendship. That's how bad it was.
Oh, are you
Yeah.
friends now?
No,
Well, that's their
it
problem.
was it was totally me though. It was totally me. I let my emotions run wild on some stuff, and so yeah, that was on me. I and then I didn't talk to the person for like 5 years. Like stopped communication with her entirely for 5 years, and then had a moment of clarity and was able to reflect back on it and go, you know what, I was a jerk. And so
Will we
anyway,
learn?
we do learn. We do. I
Hopefully.
mean,
If we don't learn,
you know,
then what's the point of being here, right?
right, right, right.
So what are you smoking today?
Um, I think it's weed.
But any particular? I know it's weed.
Um, I'm actually not sure the strain, but sorry, I got baby lungs.
Baby lungs.
Baby lungs. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Julie. Good morning, Patty. Good morning, Armando. Good morning, Patty again.
Patty Loman is watching. Patty Loman is watching. Patty Loman is watching. Patty Loman is watching. That's what I see on
Good morning,
my.
Car. Right, me too. Good morning, Carla. Wow, 11 people.
Yeah.
Man, I better. Sorry, guys, I shaved off the other eyebrow, so
Did
there's
you? You did shave the
really.
other eyebrow off? Okay. What did your
I did that.
what did the household think about that?
I tried to be sneaky and just kind of sneaky by me because I already have kind of pronounced brows, so it's kind of difficult unless you're really looking to see whether or not the eyebrows are there. And I tried to sneak it by him, but somebody got right in my face and went, "Where are your eyebrows?"
They really.
So, but they were fine with it.
And then
They understood. They understood it was for the show, so they were like, "Okay, no problem."
for the love of the show, but then did you just go and shave the other one off soon after?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right after the show, I figured I'd go ahead and shave the other one off.
Yeah, we hope we learn, right, Patty? Well, if we don't learn, I mean that's then it's not really a great friendship or life or I don't know. I like to learn, but I get tired. Do you get tired?
Oh, all the time. I mean, my day starts around 8 o'clock in the morning, and then um, since I've been doing what I'm doing now, I'm spending a lot more time on the prosthetic leg, and so it does get tiresome after a little while. I do take naps, but like 6, 7 o'clock in the evening, I'm done. I'm fried. My leg is in need of a rest, and so I got to take the leg off. And once I take the leg off, I'm pretty much stationary.
And can you
Yeah.
tell people what you are doing in your days these days?
Uh, Now I moved across the country from San Diego to upstate New York uh, to
You
help
went
a friend out.
like this.
Best, huh?
You went
Yeah,
like this.
yeah. Is an angle northeast ish. Um, but I moved out here to kind of help a friend with with some household chores, cooking, uh, doing laundry, stuff like that, stuff that she doesn't have time for, but also to help with her mom. Uh, Initially, it was to come out and just cook for the family, cook for her, get her mom to her doctor's appointments, but then uh, a situation arose where her mom had another bout of breast cancer, and so it's turned into a caretaking thing now, uh, focusing more on making sure her mom is healthy, making sure she's taking her meds, and, making sure that she's doing okay.
Is this something
So
you've done in the past?
no, well, I did it with my mom when my mom was suffering from an incurable disease that's related to MS, called scleroderma.
Hmm.
And my mom suffered from that for about 18 years before she succumbed to complications from that during surgery. But it's something that's incurable. You kind of manage it with diet and stuff, but you know, at the time, it just didn't have enough data on it for her to, you know, for them to kind of treat her the way she needed to be treated.
So you stepped in. So you're, but that's just, I'm trying to, like, you're a really kind person and you've had to work really hard on your own life with your own
Yeah,
obstacles. And
yeah,
yet at the same time, you're kind of a born caretaker.
yeah. I mean, in reflecting back on my experience, when I got into the medical cannabis industry in California, that was about like 2009. Uh, Before I went to work for the big dispensary in Berkeley, I was volunteering at a small club in Richmond, California, and there was a patient that was coming in who had developed MS, and he was bound to a wheelchair, and he had a lot of issues. And I was looking for work, and he offered me a gig to come by his house on the weekends and get him up out of bed, and put any soiled bedding into the laundry, get him fed, and then roll his joints for like 3 or 4 hours while we watch football and sports, and he just talked to me. So that was caretaking as well.
Huge, huge.
Yeah,
People
yeah,
don't realize just sitting with someone that would normally be alone, watching those football games, is beyond a gift to someone.
yeah, most definitely. I mean, he really
And you're a master joint
enjoyed.
roller, so
I am, I am. I'm Mexican, so it's in the genes apparently.
I have friends in Berkeley
Um,
that have been rolling joints since they were 3, 4 years old. They're like, yeah, my dad taught me how to roll a joint. So, you know.
I've seen a lot of things. I've seen a guy roll a joint with one hand. It was
I was going to
amazing.
ask you if you can roll one-handed. My friend, yeah, she does that. They must maybe
I'm
they.
losing
Yeah.
I'm losing dexterity in my hands, and so my hands are getting weaker. And I found that out when I went to a Thai place and tried to manipulate chopsticks, and I couldn't do it. After, yeah, right, the practice, right. But yeah, simple little, really lightweight bamboo chopsticks that I've been able to use for decades, and I just found myself unable to do it. So, but
So then,
these are just. Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I'm
No,
sorry.
you go ahead.
But you mentioned like these are the things that I had to overcome myself in going through my own personal issues, both physically and mentally. Um, you know, uh, there was a time there in the early to mid 2000s where I was going through a really bad separation with my ex. I had lost my grandmother and my mom within the span of 4 months, and a best friend, within that short period of time. And so my world was just turned upside down, and I had to kind of check out for a little bit and kind of move away from the Bay Area. And that's when I moved down to San Diego for a bit. And rather than seek therapy and go and talk to a counselor and all that, I self-medicated with cannabis and separation. So it took me like 5 years to kind of reconcile all that and to be able to come back in the Bay Area and be good and be like a functioning kind of person. And but had I gone to a therapist, that whole process would have been accelerated. But
Maybe.
I just didn't. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe it would have been different, or you didn't. You might have had to go to 3 different therapists, and then they would have recommended you do other meds and other things, and who knows?
Exactly. Exactly. I was able to work through it, recognize and own all the bullshit that I was responsible for, past and present. And I still wasn't able to make that next step where you develop the empathy and the compassion until I was able to start working in the cannabis industry. When I
So you
started
don't think
meeting
you had?
people,
You don't think you were born with that?
I think I was instilled with it, with the idea of it from my mom. Her raising me as a single parent, and she was a devout Roman Catholic. She took care of everybody she could, even though her body was failing her. And so, by that example, uh, uh, I learned some. But I was the baby, right? I was her baby at 35 when she had me. And so I had a bunch of her. We moved back to Richmond when I was still a baby. She was living in San Diego, moved back up to Richmond, where all the family was. And she had like 9 siblings. And those siblings had a bunch of kids. And so, I had a huge family network. And I was spoiled. I was coddled. I was loved. But in a lot of ways, that kind of hampered me and kind of, you know, so, I get to an age where, there's expectations, unfair expectations on other people by me because I had been taken care of. Like, I expect you to love me, but do I really got to give that love back? Do I got to serve this? Do I got to do that? Do I got to care about this? Like, I cared about my little circle, but even then, I was still really self-centered. And it wasn't until, like I said, being humbled by the separation and by the passing of these matriarchs in my family, and the impact that separation had on my daughter, um, and it just was a lot, and it really humbled me. So going into the cannabis industry with that mindset, and meeting people that were using cannabis for actual medicinal purposes and not socially smoking like I had been doing for decades. Meeting them really kind of opened my heart. Working with that guy with MS and caretaking for him really opened my heart. And so, yeah, I I was self-centered and I was selfish, and um, but when I entered the cannabis industry, I learned to care.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
beautiful.
it makes me emotional thinking about it. So, but that's also a reflection of the compassion and the empathy that I have, because now, you know commercials choke me up. you know so, but like I said, that's a reflection of where my mindset is now. So, yeah. And
Wow.
then being humbled, dealing with all my physical issues, and the loss of the leg and loss of toes over the 2010s, uh, really kind of humbled me out too.
And yet
Yeah,
you're a caretaker for other people now.
yeah. I mean, I needed a purpose. I was kind of lost. I was surviving in Southern California and Mexico, but you
You
know,
had
it
family
was
down there, right? That's partly why you went
my
down
bro- yeah, my brother has kids, so they were there, and it was just too expensive in the Bay Area. That's when I made the move, like in 2019, and
there. Yeah, we were all holding
I was
on.
just,
Ah.
yeah, and just like it was just ridiculous. And once again, that was a year before the pandemic really kicked in. Um, so, but I got my amputation in January of 2020, and I spent the entire year 2020 kind of rehabilitating. And because it was an isolating atmosphere, I really wasn't able to get up and out on my leg and doing the therapy I needed to do. So I spent a lot of 2020 in a wheelchair, kind of wheeling around a really small studio that I was staying in. So it was, it was challenging, but then I didn't really have a purpose. I was just existing. And my friend had always wanted me to move out to where she was. She goes, you just need to move out here and cook for me. That's what you need to do. You just need to just cook for me. That's all I want. Because I would post ridiculous pictures on Facebook of stuff that I was making.
I know.
And she was just like, you're ridiculous. You just stop teasing me. And so that had always been an option in the back of my mind, but I was scared. I was scared to pick up roots and move across the country to someplace that I'd never been. But I realized that that's what I'd been doing already. Like, San Diego was a new place for me, even though I had visited and I had been familiar with and I had family there. But, that was a big move. These were all big moves, and I really had no roots. And so I was just like, you know what, let's do it. Let's do it. And plus, I needed the change. I needed the support, So I really help her while I'm here, but also she helps me just by letting me be here and letting me be a part of their life.
And also, I believe what you said before, you didn't have a purpose, so she's created a purpose for you, and that purpose is caretaking. What started out being cooking is now you're caretaking for her mom.
Yeah. I had known that mom had.
Did you know her before? Had you met her before, the mother?
I met her once before. So it was my friend was. I met my friend in like the early to mid 2000s when I moved to San Diego, and she was a coworker of mine at that that factory that we discussed. And
Gilman, did I ask you that before?
No, this was the factory in San Diego.
Okay, because I had a friend that had a factory on Gilman Street that did the same thing.
Yeah. It was down in San Diego, Chula Vista, to be specific, a little town south of community south of San Diego proper. But I met her there. We became really good friends, and then I met her mom once, and yeah. So, but we were familiar, and they were all aware of me. They knew that I held a special place in my friend's heart. So, they were very accepting of the friendship, which was awesome. And so, yeah. So
she trusted you. I mean, kind of from the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
In a way.
Oh, yeah. Because
you didn't know you were going to be caretaking for her mom when you first got there, did you?
I knew that I was going to be cooking for her mom primarily. I knew that her mom had some mobility issues as well, and so I was going to be assisting with various things around the house. But at the time, her cancer had been she had one bout of cancer, like maybe 3 years ago, but it was in remission. She had went through radiation therapy then, and so she was healthy in that respect. And so this was just kind of unexpected on my part. I unexpected on her part as well, but I'm sure. But like I said, I wasn't aware of it. So when the diagnosis came in, I admit it was a little triggering for me because of the time my mom spent trying to regain her health through her time, and ultimately passing in like 99, 2000, and then my time in and out of ERs and nursing homes as well. So the whole situation was really kind of unnerving for me, and I was intimidated and I was scared, and I didn't want to disappoint. That's the other end of it too. I just didn't want to not live up to the obligation, and I'm still kind of challenged by it, but we're working through it. We're working through it. Um,
What's challenging for you?
uh, I think it's faith in myself. First and foremost is having the faith that I can do it. Like I don't want to drop the ball. I don't want to disappoint. I want to be able to fulfill this duty. Um, but the other end of it too is the mom was a pretty good eater. She liked a lot of things that I cooked. Everything was going great for the first couple months that I was here, and then you had to kind of alter her diet. And now I don't have confidence because I'm cooking a lot of things I'm not familiar with, and so and I've got to I learned to cook big meals, and now I've got to shrink that down to individual meals too.
Sure, because
So
you're
that's also
cooking
an
at something
adjustment.
completely different for her than for the rest
Yeah,
of us.
exactly. And then she had started her chemo treatments 2 weeks ago. She got the first treatment, and then that weekend she had some respiratory issues. She has asthma, among other health issues, but she had a hard time breathing, and to the point where she had her emergency inhaler didn't work, nebulizer didn't work, and so we called the ambulance. Unfortunately, she had to go to the ER, which is always a scary trip because ERs are just like
So
just
unknown.
cesspools.
You just
Yeah,
don't
you never know.
Yeah.
You never know. And it's a small town. I mean, it's a very small town. But when we got to the ER that night, it was slammed. Like there were people waiting. The ER was understaffed. It was ridiculous, and it kind of reminded me of Oakland. The ER in Oakland, because I had been in and out of ERs in Oakland, but and so it was like, oh boy, I'm home. It was kind of a bittersweet reminder. I'm like, oh,
I
this
feel
is
like
like
I'm on
home.
Rhode Island right now.
Right. But they had admitted her. She spent about 4 days in the hospital. They sent her home with 24-hour oxygen. It was funny. They sent her home with tanks, right? And then they said there'll be a delivery later. And there was a delivery. Guess what they brought into the house?
Did they really?
They brought in the oxygen generators from Breathe,
Right.
a newer
Like,
model.
I know how
But
to do this.
yeah, right. And I was sitting there ready to go. All right, let's turn it up to like 4.5, 5 mics and get that oxygen going. And the tech was like, no, you don't want to do that.
You're like, give me
And
if
in
you
the
got
back of
extra
my
cannula so I can dose up right now too.
right. And then in the back of my mind, I'm hearing Moisha's voice going, "Oh yeah, we could turn that thing up 4.5, 5. Just pump to that, pump it." But because she's on 24-hour, they don't want to get, they don't want to give her too much oxygen. So right now she's like 2.5 mics, and then yeah.
I just texted
But
a couple minutes ago.
oh, nice.
So
But yeah,
you have unsure feelings about it. Do you have you met other caretakers in the area?
I have not. I haven't really networked with anybody. The only time I really tapped into like a community for that type of support is when I had the amputation or was getting the amputation, scheduling it, the run up to, and I tapped into a subreddit forum on Reddit, uh, and kind of did some research and talked with some people and bounced how my feelings on what was going to happen and stuff like that. So that was really the only time I've ever tapped into a community about it, and it was helpful, But I kind of, I'm a loner, I'm a rebel, so I find
I think a lot of
that
caretakers
reassurance.
are
Yeah,
loners. We're comfortable in being alone and comfortable in that situation of, but you have to think on your feet. And sometimes,
you do.
like how you said, you're not sure if you're doing the right thing, or so. I don't know if I don't know if I never really am not a group person either, but it's nice to know that there are other people out there kind of having those same feelings. Am I doing it the right way? Am I, you know, cooking or drink, whatever it is, cleaning even. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many different aspects, especially that you when you come on to kind of caretake for someone, unless it's all written in stone, which it can't be because as someone changes, their health changes. You know, nobody else knew how to use the oxygen in your house, I'm sure. And you're like, oh man, I used to live with this. This is what I did for a living. So there's certain talents that we have that come through.
Most definitely. Most definitely. I mean, my my experience with my amputation, starting in 2011, 2012, this is, the foot issues really kept me in an isolated state. I had to be home, couldn't work, spent a lot of time by myself, spent a lot. So I had a good training period before the pandemic hit. Right, it was just something I was ready for. I was like, "Oh, normal life. This is
Right.
great."
I
Right?
hear you, brother. Yeah, I know. I'm like, yeah.
Right?
Okay,
Yeah.
and all right, so now I have to learn how to grocery shop online. Other than that, I'm all good. Yeah.
Right. Right. So yeah. Um,
Do you know how did you
but
do
yeah.
that? Were you a are you a Grubhub guy or were you when you were dealing with that on your own? How were you how where did the food come from when you were dealing with your amputation? How did your
Well,
what was your caretaking?
well, I was I had been out of work and I qualified for SSI, supplemental income from Social Security. Uh, Unfortunately, I didn't have enough units to qualify for disability, like a full disability benefit. They go back and look at
Right.
the previous 5 years, right? You have to have like a certain number of units. Like 1 unit equals a quarter of a year or 3 months. So I didn't have enough of those to qualify for disability benefits, but I was able to qualify for the SSI. So I had SSI, wasn't working. I was a SNAP. I also got SNAP benefits, which are food stamps, and so I was able to um, do that. And then I had to shop smart. I had to be able to go, okay, instead of buying something that's in a can or in a package and has the preservatives and the palm oil and all that crap, I had to go, let me buy this instead and make it. And I knew I had the knowledge and I needed something to occupy my life. Um, and so I went ahead and started cooking, and really started paying attention to ingredients. Uh, the only real processed foods that I was eating was like bread, lunch meat, stuff like that. But everything else, vegetables, meats, everything was all
So you were
natural.
doing that all
Natural.
yourself. You were caretaking for yourself.
I was, I was, um, yeah, you know. Uh, I had I like to cook. It's like therapeutic for me, and so when I was kind of feeling down, I would cook, and because I learned how to cook by watching my mom. My mom always cooked big meals, and so I would always cook these huge meals for 1, 2 people. It was just like, okay, we're just gonna have to deal with leftovers, and I still have that problem, but I'm adjusting. But yeah, yeah, I did all that on my own.
That's really impressive and really hard. But you did it.
Yeah,
You're doing it. And now you're caretaking other people.
yeah, yeah, and it's good. And once again, it's along with the service of making sure that she's okay and getting her to doctor's appointments. We sit, we talk, and I make her laugh, and it's good. It's really nice. It's really nice.
You're so cool. You're a really good person.
I try.
What are you
Thank you.
making today?
I'm kind of taking the day off ish. Uh, I'm not sure. There's already some leftovers in the fridge from a previous meal. Like
What did you
I
make?
went shop. I went shopping. My intentions were to do like a white lasagna, white vegetable lasagna, right? And so I went shopping for like a lot of ingredients, and I knew I had like the veggies for it and stuff like that. But then I got home here, and I was like, it's a lot of work, and I found frozen raviolis. I'm like, well, let me do a ravioli bake. I was talking about it just the night before, and so I did everything. I put it all in a ravioli in a dish and all
Oh,
the
you did
stuff
a
in there.
ravioli bake, so you made like a lasagna with the ravioli in a sense.
Exactly.
Ah, see?
So I made, I was gonna go the lazy route and like buy a jar of Alfredo and all that, but I'm going, you know what? Let me put some effort into it. So I made the white sauce from scratch and
Yeah, I mean, it's not
uh,
that bad. White
that
sauce is like,
it's a roux. Come on, it's a roux. And then I did a spinach, basil, and onion ricotta mix, and then
nice.
layered layered that in there, and topped it with mozzarella and some some tomatoes and some basil on the top there. It was good. It was good.
It sounds really good. And that's going to be even better now.
Oh yeah, I can't wait.
Get over to that. That's like put that stuff under the broiler and look out, kids.
Put it in the air fryer. Oh my
Oh, right, you
gosh.
have an air fryer. So
Yes.
what is it? What would the air fryer do to that?
It would bake it, right? It would bake it so it would give the the outside a bit of a crust,
Crunch. Yeah.
right? Yeah, a little bit of a crust and texture to it, and yeah, um, it's just a lot better. Once if you put it in the microwave, microwave heats it inside out, and it kind of
Yeah.
gets mushy,
Yeah. The
which
microwave.
is good in some respects, but the air fryer has a tendency to dry foods out. So if something you want something moist, then you might want to do reheated moist. You might want to do the microwave, but the air fryer will give it a texture.
Would you ever? I asked someone this last night, but it was on the Late Show. Would you ever want to cook something on the show?
Um, yeah, I would consider it. It's just we probably have to schedule it for a day where the house isn't so full. Today there are two boys uh, and five adults, including me, four adults, including me. And so there's a lot of rambunctious going on right now, and
I hear
I'm
you.
isolated in my purple lounge today.
Do not disturb sign. Well, we won't take up any more of your time for today, but my mom just said you're a great guy, Alex, and and
Mama,
and just
Mama
keep
Grace,
going.
you're
Have a
awesome.
great day.
You're awesome as well.
She is. She is. And she's going to do her mass now, and I'm going to take Lillian outside for a walk, and we're going to walk down to the chalk on the block really quick, and then I have my gig.
Okay,
So
nice. Well, your gig, you got a gig.
got a gig.
Tell me about your gig real quick.
It's the guitar player that I work with. We've been doing it since this all started. We play in his driveway. He and his wife
Okay,
have a cute little driveway near me, and people come and bring their chairs and food. It's BYO BYOBF and chairs. So bring a little food.
that's
Bring a little,
awesome.
yeah. It's a way for us to keep on playing, and
Yeah,
yeah. So
that's great.
yeah.
All
Thank you.
right. Yeah, that's
Thank you.
awesome, man. That's great.
Well, I love. Are you interested? Can you come back next Sunday?
Of course. Maybe maybe the eyebrows will grow back and we'll shave them some more.
I think you look good without them. Do they
Thank
feel
you. I
kind of?
gotta.
Do you notice a difference without them?
Nah, nah.
Like you
I
don't have
rarely.
shade or anything?
Like some catfish eyebrows, right? Nah, nah. I rarely look at myself, so it doesn't bother me, you know.
I work with a
Um,
guitar player that sometimes I can hear his eyebrows when he's playing because he has. I'm like, dude, you gotta shave those things or trim them or something because it's like
audible, audible eyebrows. That's the next name of the next group you're going to be in.
audible
Audible
eyebrows. I was
eyebrows.
already in a group called Audible Eyebrows. That's what my brother always says. Oh yeah, I was in a
That was
group.
my nickname. That was my nickname in prison.
Right. Audible eyebrows. We won't go any further on that one, but thank you, Alex Martinez.
Thank you, Jenna Mammina.
I hope you
I
have a.
love you.
I love you too, and I hope you have a great day hanging out in the purple, chilling in the purple.
I'm about to exit the lounge right now. They carded me. I got in on a fake ID, and they're going to kick me out of the club. I have to.
Thanks, man. You have a great day. Hey, do you have a letter for me?
A letter?
Any letter?
Any letter? G.
G. Okay. You can hang up or you can stick around for the song.
No, I'm sticking around for the song. Are you
Oh,
kidding me?
here we go on a Sunday morning with Alex Martinez. He's so cool, he's so great, he's so fun, and I love that he has a heart like he does, heart of gold. And I hope that all your thoughts are gold, pure thoughts, and your words are great. Your heart is like Mama Grace, graceful in thought, golden words, and everybody, you know what we do right here. We gotta stay safe, stay healthy, and be real nice. And Alex, we will see you hopefully more than twice. So everybody have a great day. Maybe I'll see you later. And tonight we've got poetry glam, and boy, they're gonna slay us. So stay safe, stay healthy, and be real nice. Alex Martinez, thank you so much for being so cool. And thrice I see those eyebrows, so I will say now. Everybody, everybody, love hard, real hard, and ciao.
Yes. Yes. Work. Work. I love it.
See you, brother.
You have a good day. Thank you, everybody. See you next week.